So thank you everyone for joining us today. Most of you, no doubt, during your lunch break. So welcome to today's CreditorWatch webinar. We'll be looking at streamlining customer acquisition with an online credit application. My name is Patrick Coughlin. I think a lot of you have joined us before. For those that are new to the CreditorWatch webinar series, I'm the Commercial Director at CreditorWatch and have been with the company since day one. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn if you'd like. Some housekeeping before we get started. So there's a question and answer box within your GoToWebinar pop-up. You should be able to ask questions along the way. So feel free to do so. We do have some people standing by who will be able to chat and obviously answer your questions as required. And if we don't get to them all today, we will get to them within the next 24 hours. So please don't worry, or please don't feel aggrieved if for some reason we don't get to one of your questions. Particularly if it's a little bit more complicated, we'd rather give you a phone call and have a chat to you about it as well. Slides and webinar recording will be sent to you within 24 to 48 hours. So we are recording this. So if you have to leave early or if you want to pass it on to colleagues or friends, etc., you'll be able to do that, and we'll provide the slides as well. And to kick off, I'm going to start with a quick poll, just looking at a simple question: do you have an online credit application? So this is going to give me a better idea of those who have one set up already. So there's a bit of training, I guess, for you, and also those who don't have one. And obviously, I can tailor the presentation slightly depending on whether we're leaning more towards the yes or the no. I'll give it another 5 seconds, and I'll close that poll, and we'll have a look at the results. Okay, so from a sales point of view, it's fantastic. 89% of you don't have an online credit application. Hopefully I can convince you to trial one with us after this, or even get one set up for the long term. For those of you who do have one, hopefully it's an apply easy one, and we're going through some training for you. So a quick look at the agenda. Obviously I'll briefly touch on who CreditorWatch is, a little bit about Apply Easy itself, which is our online credit application product. We'll have a look at the benefits and the features. Now, it's impossible for me to get through all of the features because there are so many of them. We're constantly innovating and developing new features in-house. All of our development's done in-house here in Sydney. So I've tried to touch on the main ones that sort of fit the majority of customers who do use us. We'll have a quick live demo and have a look at some client feedback that we've received in the last few months as well. So just quickly about CreditorWatch, commercial credit reporting bureau now with well over 50,000 customers around Australia. And that's customers from pretty much every industry out there and every size, from sole traders all the way through to ASX listed companies. We've got a variety of products, our core products being credit reporting, monitoring and alerts, so customer monitoring and alerts, and debt collection tools as well. Obviously Apply Easy, which we're looking at today, is our online credit application and credit management solution. And we do quite a bit in the data washing, customer data segmentation as well. So if you do have some updates that you want to do, you want to collect data on your customers, please do contact us about that as well. From a small business point of view, we really do act as a virtual accounts receivable manager for small businesses, for those that don't have a dedicated AR function within their business. We also integrate with Xero and MYOB to make it that much more automated for you. Now, Apply Easy. So Apply Easy provides companies with an online credit application. It allows potential new customers to yourselves to apply for an account with you online. It integrates obviously with CreditorWatch from a credit reporting point of view. So it it automates the entire onboarding process from the capture of data and entity verification at the very beginning through to credit reporting and the approval rejection process. We can even take it a step further and integrate it into your ERP or your CRM system as well. And all of this is done from a simple to use dashboard. So a few important points to remember and consider. Apply Easy is owned, developed and operated by CreditorWatch, all here in Sydney. We do have offices around Australia, but the important thing about that is when you sign up to use Apply Easy or CreditorWatch, you're signing up to a product that we own. It's not resold to anyone else. We don't have to rely on third-party developers to make changes or features or updates or anything like that. It's all done out of our Sydney office. We can typically have an application up and running within 48 hours. Our MD and founder actually did one the other day, and it's been a while since he obviously put one together, but he wanted to test his skills, and he actually created it inside of 30 minutes. And that's really, you know, testament to the development and innovation and time that's gone into Apply Easy to make it a really simple to use, simple to create application. Just because it's quick to get up and running doesn't mean it can't be extremely complex, which you will see when we do a demo, and you'll see some, you know, some fairly big name companies that do use Apply Easy, and you can imagine the complexities that comes with operating an online credit application for those companies. It's used by over 500 companies around Australia, and as I said, we really can offer a solution for sole traders who might only bring on, you know, a couple of new customers a month, all the way through to billion-dollar public companies who are onboarding literally hundreds, if not thousands, of new customers every month, and it's all coming through Apply Easy. So I don't want you to be, you know, put off if you are a smaller business or you are a, you know, very large business. I don't want you to be put off either way. We do have solutions, or the solution itself does suit any size business, no matter how many new customers you're bringing on a monthly basis. I've obviously kept this presentation not too basic, not too standard, but I haven't gone into the complexities that we're able to do. So if you do have questions, obviously ask away or contact us. If you're unsure that, you know, Apply Easy might be something that we can deliver for your particular needs and business, please do get in contact with us, and we can set up a free trial for you so you can have a play with it before you actually commit to using it. So some of the key benefits, I know there's probably a few more benefits here than key actually suggests. So the main ones obviously being eliminate days worth of administration and data entry every month. That's probably the number one thing that every single Apply Easy customer comes across, is the ability to do away with the need for a lot of manual data entry and administration. We reduce the application turnaround time, thereby shortening the sales cycle. So you'll see later on, we've had customers come to us where it's taken them over a week to process an application when they receive it, and they're down to, you know, hours, if not just a couple of days. Something that's often overlooked as well is the improvement to the customer service. So customers love the fact that they can apply 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They're kept up to date with what's happening. It's easy to do online. They don't have to fiddle with, you know, paper-based application forms, fax machines, scanners, etc. It's all done online. It improves your credit management process, so it ensures that you're ticking all the right boxes from a credit reporting point of view, but also collecting all the correct information as well. Automation and consistent decision making reduces human error, really important one. For those bigger companies, there's an auditable trail that tracks everything. All users get their own login details, so you can see exactly who's accessing what, who's approving, rejecting what, who's running what sort of reports. It integrates with CreditorWatch, as I mentioned earlier, so you've got access to our suite of credit reporting tools and also monitoring and alerts. which becomes automated when you approve an application. So just some of the features. We obviously create a branded online credit application. We host it, we manage it, but for all intents and purposes, it looks like it's your company's. It's got your company name in the URL. It's got your branding, it's got your color scheme, your contact details, etc. So it looks exactly like you guys have developed it, and that's what we want. We want the customer to feel comfortable that they're applying for an account with you. All questions are fully customizable. In most cases, we take your paper-based credit application form and we just replicate that, and we can obviously make changes as we go along. We're doing the entity verification, ABN, ACN, business names, etc. Integrates with CreditorWatch. We can automate trade references if you want. We can set up automated credit decisions, which then comes back when an application is submitted based on the rules that we develop with you. It comes back as an approve, reject, refer. A lot of people sometimes they ask, oh, it's all online. Does that mean we have to have an electronic signature? No. Electronic or digital signature is an option. However, you can also stick with the traditional hand-signed PDF, so you don't have to worry about that. The ability to communicate the decision between the applicant and yourself or the staff is really important. And then getting a bit more technical, you can actually integrate with an ERP, with your ERP or CRM system. So when an application is received or approved, for instance, we actually would push all of the data, the client or the applicant's data from ApplyEasy into your CRM system, just eliminating all of that manual data entry. And we can capture documents along the way. So customers, applicants can upload copies of their driver's license, trust deed if they're a trust. They can sign terms and conditions and upload them into the application. Basically any document that you might want to capture. And as I said, there's so many features. So if there's something that you're unsure about, or you've got a trial at the moment and you want to get something turned on, please just do contact us and we can talk through it with you. So what I'll do is I'll talk about the application process from go to woe, and then I'll obviously do a live demonstration. But I just want to make sure that the key points are obviously captured along the way. So as a customer or as an applicant is actually filling out the application, ApplyEasy is doing a number of things in the background at that same time. So we're verifying the entity and the entity details, so addresses, directors, etc. We're assessing their credit, automating the ordering of credit reports, credit scores as required. We can automate the trade references for you, which is an option. And obviously we're collecting documents via upload. So there I've got those trust deeds, copy of driver's license, etc. From a privacy, terms and conditions, guarantors point of view, anything legal, there's multiple signature options. So we can have these signatures collected in a hand-signed document, be it they download, sign, and then upload the document back in, or they can send that document to you at a later date. Really, it's up to you. You've got that flexibility. Or if you did want to utilize an electronic or digital signature, that is possible as well. So there are multiple options there, and we can talk you through that in more detail. The approval or rejection process. So once an application is received, you will receive an email saying, dear credit manager, or dear business owner, an application has been received from a specific individual. Now I can just jump out and show you what that looks like. So in this case, we've got, dear credit manager, a company has applied for a credit account with your company. Please find attached copy of the application form as well as a corresponding CSV. So you know that you need to log into your dashboard, your inbox, to process that application. At the same time, the applicant has also received an email letting them know that information has been received, and we will get back to you very, very shortly. So what happens during that approval process? So a credit decision is displayed. Now this is an option, but we do have the majority of our clients do turn it on, And based on the rules, for instance, do they have any negative information like court actions, payment defaults, are they in administration, you know, adverse cross directorships, etc. We can create rules around that to essentially say approve, reject, or refer. Now that can be automated, or it can just be a recommended decision as well. You then have access to all of the relevant documentation that has been submitted by the applicant, as well as credit reports. You've got the signed contracts or documents that you've asked them to sign or upload, and also the trade references as well. Now, approval and rejection. So you can, as I said, manually approve or reject applications based on the rules. You can then send email notifications and documents to the applicant. So if you approve someone, you say, congrats, you've been approved for an account. Your credit limit's $10,000. We have a nice template that's set up, and you can actually send that to the applicant and also attach a marketing brochure, for instance. Or if you rejected them for whatever reason, you could send them the rejection email explaining why, and attach a COD credit application or a direct debit form and say, look, we're happy to do business with you, but you have to pay COD or cash up front. When you approve an application, it's automatically monitored within CreditorWatch. So going forward, if any changes occur to that particular customer, that particular company, we'll send you an email alert letting you know that there's been adverse actions that have taken place. There's been a change of director or change of address, that sort of thing. All applications are then saved into an approved and rejected folder, depending on which action you've taken. And as I mentioned earlier, if we want to go that step further, we can assist you in integrating your Apply Easy online credit application with your CRM or your ERP system. And that could be pretty much any sort of system out there. We've never come up against a system that we can't integrate with, and that's generally done by API. So what that means is all of the data is automatically sent straight through to your system. So it eliminates the need for someone to either manually do it, or it allows you to create, your own workflow within your ERP system that you're using, open an account, etc. There's always more with Apply Easy. So a couple of little things, clever little tools as well that we've developed. For incomplete applications, we'll actually identify applications that were never completed. So this is fantastic for the credit team or the GM or the business owner, whoever it is, to see, okay, well, this, XYZ Proprietary Limited, they started to fill out the application, but they never completed it. I'm going to pass this on to the sales team. The sales team can then follow up with that client who's dropped off, and hopefully, we can save the sale that way. It could be that they didn't have the data. It could be required to, complete the application. Maybe they got distracted. Who knows? It's just great to be able to go to them and say, hey, we noticed that you started filling it out. Did you have any concerns? Is there anything we can help you with to, finalize that application? And something else we've introduced in the last, I think probably about 6 months, was the ability to review previously received applications. So what you can do now is you can perform a credit review on previously approved or rejected applications, runs them through the decisioning process again to come back with an up-to-date decision. So this could be done for a number of reasons, and the ones I've got here is it gives you the ability to approve a previously rejected application. For instance, if their circumstances have changed. So they could have had, a pending court action that's been dismissed. That's the reason you rejected it previously. That's no longer the case. They've come back to you, explained that. You can run them through, simple one click of the button to come back and find a new decision. You can assess a credit limit increase. So an approved customer, current customer comes to you and says, hey, you approved me for 10K. I've been a really good payer for the last 6 months. I'd really love to go up to 25. Is that possible? Well, then you can run them through the credit decisioning process again to see what that comes back with. And then also just generally as part of an annual review on customers, you can always just run that as and when you need to. If you have multiple applications, if you operate in Australia and New Zealand, or you've got a COD and a credit application, or a combination of all of those, Apply Easy can accommodate almost anything. We can have multiple applications. We can have Australia and New Zealand separate applications, or they can be in one. If there's multiple divisions, business units, branches, departments, etc., they can all act as separate applications. You could all have them in a single application. I guess the key thing is that they would all point to a single dashboard to allow you to actually process those applications. They'd be nicely identified, which ones are Australia, which ones are New Zealand, which is COD, what's credit, etc. It's obviously probably for companies that are going to be bigger than the run of the mill. But Apply Easy has the ability to manage multiple applications across 2 countries and multiple business units, etc. So please keep that in mind if you are in that fitting into that sort of mold. From a workflow point of view, Apply Easy gives you the ability, gives your staff the ability to set up workflows and track where applications are up to, for instance. So if you've got multiple staff or departments that need to manage and process an application, for instance, might come into credit, then goes into sales or master data, then back to credit for the final approval, we have the ability to set up a workflow that allows your staff to send that around to each individual employee or department that is responsible for each step, alert them via email or within Apply Easy. So it's great for tracking applications. You can measure SLAs, identify the progress of applications, and then something else that I've added here, you can also create access level controls. So as I said before, each user can have their own access, but you can actually manage what they can see and what they can do. So we've got manage user access and permissions as well. So this is a fantastic tool to be able to pass applications around, but also things like you might have a process or rules in place where an application with a credit limit request of over $50,000 or $100,000 can only be approved by the MD or the finance director. So they don't need to be involved in the day-to-day. However, when those do come along, you're able to notify them. They can log in with their own user details and approve the applications as required. So let's have a look at a live demonstration. I've set up a fairly standard credit application, keeping in mind that there are literally hundreds of features out there that we could turn on, but I don't want to overcomplicate it. So let's get into it. So as you can see here, I've just put in some dummy names, obviously company names. So this is where your name and logo would go. You'll notice from the URL, I've got yourcompany.applyeasy.com.au. So your company would obviously be replaced with your company name. Your contact details, if they need help along the way, color scheme, etc. Everything you see here in this gray area is customizable. So we're really on this intro page telling people exactly what they'll need in order to complete the application. Now, the first thing we're asking for is an ABN. Now, I'm just going to steal one from another company. And what you'll see is why we do that is it allows us to start verifying the entity and collecting data on that entity. Okay, so you can see I've put the ABN in and it's automatically pre-populated the ACN, the business structure, the legal name. All right, so you know exactly who you're dealing with. You're not getting the ABN of a sole trader, the ACN of a company, and then the legal entity name of a partnership. You're dealing with one entity, which is really important from a credit management point of view. If, for instance, I enter the ABN of a trust, I could force the applicant to then enter the details of the trustee. Usually that's the ACN. However, if we wanted to take it a step further, we can actually ask them to upload a copy of the trust deed so you can verify exactly who the owners are of that business. I've just got here profile, so nature of the business. I'm obviously just going to put AC, air conditioning, and credit limit, I'm going to ask for $15,000. So primary contact details. So what I've got here is I will put in John Doe, MD, JD@test.com. So you can see there, I've put in a comma and it's flagged it in red. I'm not going to be able to go forward. I have to actually put in correct ending to an email there, phone number. And in this case, they're asking me for a copy of my driver's license. So this is just to give you an understanding of, we can ask for uploads. So I've selected my driver's license there, and that's uploaded it there for you. And I'm going to copy down all the information from above because that's exactly the same. So next page here is director and principals. What I can actually do is partial pre-fill. So CreditorWatch obviously has a lot of information on file that they can pull through just to make it easier, both for the applicant, but also to verify at the end date for the for yourselves, for the supplier. If I had more directors or principals that I wanted to add, I could. And if I was unsure about something or I got distracted, click save for later, enter my email address in there. It's going to send me an email with a link saving my application, so I can come back to that at any stage in order to complete the application. Really handy there, all about making it easy for the customer to do their to get through it for you. So registered addresses, I'm just going to fill this out. Again, nice easy copy downs. And then trade references. So the trade references, it's a bit of a dying art. However, it's still got its place in the credit management process. Some people use it, some people don't. This is an optional tab. If it's something that you're not interested in, then we'll obviously just turn it off. But ideally what we're doing is I'm going to put in the name of another supplier that I deal with. And that way, Apply Easy is actually going to send out an email to John Smith and say, John Doe from Advanced Aircon Design and Construct is applying for a credit application or a credit account with, in this case, it'll say your company. Please fill out the online trade reference form if they feel like doing it, obviously. The second to last page here is the documents page. Again, what I've got here, I've got the privacy policy set up. So I would click the link that downloads the privacy policy. In this case, I'm using the CreditorWatch one. I would sign that and then upload it back in to the application. We can do this for your terms and conditions. We can do it for personal guarantees, director guarantees, anything that you require a hand signature on, we can do it. Get them to upload it. And once they hit confirm, all that information is being sent through to yourself to process it. You're not waiting for them to send a signed PDF through to you, which could take days or weeks, or they forget about it. You've received everything you need in order to process this application. So this final page is a confirmation page, so I can go through and go, yep, all of this is correct, hit complete. At this stage where I hit complete is where we fork a little bit in terms of what signature process you want to take, whether you want to take a signed, hand-signed document or more of an electronic route. So I will just leave it there. I won't show you one or the other. It's something that we like to discuss with you just to better understand exactly what your internal processes are and ideally what you're trying to achieve from the signature point of view. So upon hitting complete, that would then send an email to the credit manager or the business owner, the supplier, saying an application has been received, as I showed you before in that email. At the same time, the applicant's also received an email with clear instructions on what's going to happen next or whether there's any additional information required. From our point of view, we now get to approve the application itself. So we can see advanced aircon and design. So all of these links here take you through to the CreditorWatch website to have a look at their live credit report if you wanted to see it. Alternatively, you can access the credit information from within here as a PDF. So it's a time-stamped PDF. You can order a brand new one or jump into the file section and you'll actually see the credit report, which is a credit report that was processed, generated as soon as that application was received. Also, you're going to find the driver's license that was uploaded, a copy of the privacy policy, and any other documents that you might be required, that you might have required the applicant to upload. If you wanted to send a trade reference to someone that you, for instance, is in your industry that you rely on for, you know, a little bit of inside industry knowledge, then you can obviously send it from within here. If you wanted to add any notes to the application, so this is where if there's multiple people that need to approve an application, they can put in notes here. I've done my due diligence. It's up to the finance director to approve now. Okay, so that finance director knows that when they come in, they're going to see that previous note. The other thing I was talking about was the workflow. So I can say AR approved, and if I wanted to, I could send that on to the finance director to get them to approve it, or the MD, for instance. So that's sort of around the workflow that I touched on before. Trade references, you can see that one was sent out and we're still waiting on a returned trade reference from them. However, we can have a look at the others. So one, it's either going to say waiting, view, which means we've received it. So in this case, we can see Rich Smith, lots of Smiths around, from Smith's Chops, has provided a trade reference here. You can see standard trade reference information, trading length, average monthly purchases, any comments, etc. So really handy, don't have to pick up the phone. Rich has just provided that off the bat. The other one we have though is we flagged as risk. So this information has been flagged as risk because the applicant's IP address matches that of the trade referee. So essentially the applicant is filling out their own trade reference. So we've got some clever tech in the back there that will flag any sort of fraudulent activity that might be happening. Credit info, you've got access to all your CreditorWatch reporting. We can automate that for you based on rules. Credit app itself is obviously the PDF that if they were signing it, hand signing it, this is an example of what they would see. And then we've got the decision. So we have some basic rules set up in the background. This application has come in and it's come back as reject. Now by clicking on reject, I can see why. So we can see when they started trading. So they've been trading for almost 6 years, no defaults, but they've got multiple insolvency notices, court judgments. So auto decision reason is reject because of the status and also the judgments and when the decision was made. So in this case, we would look at it and go, you know what, yeah, we're going to reject this. They're not the sort of company that we want to do business with. We do have a refer one here though, and that would give you the referral reason. So referral reason is obviously trading length. So they've been trading, you know, inside of 2 years, for instance, or 3 years might be the rule that's set up. And then you can make the decision there. If we want to approve this application, so despite the fact that it says refer, we're going to approve it because we know Toll Holdings are a giant company. They're very reputable, and we're happy to continue, or we're happy to open an account for them. So you've got these action bars along here that allow you to obviously approve or reject. So I'm going to hit approve here. I'm going to put in a credit limit. So they asked for 15K, but I'm only going to give them 10. I'm going to put in a account ID if I have one at this stage, so a customer number, and any notes if I wanted to, or files. By hitting approve, that's automatically added it to my CreditorWatch monitoring list. So going forward, I will receive email alerts if they get into financial difficulty. The next step is to send an email to the applicant. So I obviously used my email address. So we're sending an email to the applicant. I can even CC in, the finance director or a branch manager, sales manager, that sort of thing. You've got the ability to do that. And that can be multiple people, obviously. I've got a template set up here. So all I have to do is add Patrick. Your account number is 123 ABC, and you've been approved for $10,000. If you have any questions, contact your account manager, phone number, etc. The next step, I can attach additional files. So that could be a marketing document, it could be a sales request form, it could be a frequent flyer or a frequent buyer, promotion that you have going on, anything at all. We can attach documents to that email that the applicant is going to receive that says, congratulations, you have been approved. Send the email, and that is now sent off. That's stored in my approved folder, so I can see all of the other applications. We have our rejected folder as well. And then the incomplete applications that we spoke about earlier. So that really takes us to the end of the demonstration of Apply Easy. That demonstration obviously covers the vast majority of, that covers the basics that every single company needs for an online credit application to work. Obviously, there are certain things that we can turn on and off, like trade references. If you didn't want auto decision on there and you just wanted to make your own decision, that's fine. We obviously work with you to personalize and customize both the online credit application itself and also the inbox as well. So jumping back to the presentation, I've just got a couple of client feedbacks. And as I said before, obviously these guys are fairly sizable companies. So if you are of a similar size, then this is relevant to you. But if you're a small business, don't be put off by the fact that we're using quotes from large businesses. So a few of the things that we've got here, obviously, Brickworks Limited, we can have an application processed, approved, opened in our system, and the customer sent a welcome pack within 15 minutes of receiving the application online. Manassan Foods, they got really positive feedback from customers that they could apply 24/7, and it actually streamlined the process between sales and credit, getting them to work more effectively. Metcash, they eliminated delays caused by customers incorrectly completing paper-based forms. So incorrect information, not filling out all of the fields. Obviously, on Apply Easy, we can set every single field to be mandatory, so they can't skip over it. Or if you just wanted certain fields to be required, we can do that as well. Nova Entertainment, the fact that we can make quick and accurate decisions without having to go through a lot of information has opened up more time for us to focus on other duties. So they've obviously set up automated decisioning as part of their process. It takes a lot of the guesswork out of it. And the last one we have here, George Weston Foods, it's improved our customer onboarding experience, which was a major pain point, and we succeeded in turning the negative feedback we received into positive feedback. So it's not just about getting sales through the door quicker. It's not just about approving applications faster. That customer experience is something that's often overlooked. We live in a digital world, and it's really the sort of thing that customers are embracing, being able to fill out things online, apply online is one of them. We've got some downloads that are available. So when I send these slides through to you, you can click on that link to access the downloads that are available. So one last question, and a fairly obvious one with my sales hat on. Would you be interested in an online application? So I'm hoping that we get, what was it? I think it was a 90-10 split before. Hopefully we get, that 90-10 split, and there's not too many no's in there. Another 5 seconds to fill it out. We'll have a look at those results. All right, so not far off. 10% of you not interested. Unfortunately, I haven't done a good enough job today. Obviously 8%, so there's been a drop in the number of you that have an online application, but thankfully 82% of you have said yes. So thank you for your feedback there, much appreciated. Brings us to our last slide. Thank you very much for obviously attending today, taking the time out. Usually I get through these in about half an hour, but Apply Easy, you know, there's a lot of moving parts to it. So I appreciate the time that you've dedicated to this. If you don't have an online credit application, we do actually set up trials for free. We take your paper-based credit application form and we set it up and essentially provide you with an application that you could start using almost immediately. If it turns out that, you know, it's not the process that you want to go down, it's not something you're interested in, then we obviously walk away and we can just delete that for you. So please do contact us. You can fill out the form on applyeasy.com.au, call us 0281882025 or email us there. We also have an upcoming webinar, which you can access on that link there. It's got a list of all of our previous webinars, but also our upcoming ones as well. And we'll be looking at CreditorWatch tools, which is our new and improved debt collection tools that are available within your CreditorWatch account. If you've got any questions, please feel free to write them down now. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to give this another sort of 60 seconds. We'll end the presentation itself, and we've just got a feedback form that's going to pop up for you. We really do appreciate it if you can provide some feedback for us. Be brutally honest. If you don't like the presenter, I've got thick skin. If there's other things that you would like to see, you know, please let us know, and that will pop up in about 30 seconds from now. So I'm going to sign off. Thanks again for joining us today. I hope to see you. I hope to be able to present to you in our future webinars that come along. If you've received an email to this, you'll obviously receive invitations to the next one. And again, any questions, please contact us and feel free to contact me as well direct if you'd like, or connect with me on LinkedIn. So thanks again for your time today. Have a great week.